Hey everyone, welcome. My name's Larry Bailey. We're coming to you live from ICE X25. We've got a great show for you to go through. We got four big guests coming on. We've got HousingWire here, Mortgage Champions, Sharky Bright, and Adopt the Brand. We're going to have a lot of guests here. I want you to stay tuned. We've got just 15-minute segments with each guest so we can make sure that we get in and out. We're going to ask some really important questions, things that only they can tell us from their perspective. And let's get going. Our very first guest here is Dan. Dan's with HousingWire. Dan, we want to tell everybody who you are and what you're doing to make a difference.
Yeah, so Dan Smokoska, HousingWire, really just trying to help brands and, you know, individuals who want to drive in revenue in some capacity in the mortgage industry, get their brand out there, be seen, be known, be trusted, make sales easier, all those things. So,
Nice.
yeah.
And then one of the things that I know you've been doing recently, only because I got looped into this whole concept of, at least in LinkedIn,
Right.
like selling on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I know you're doing that, but that's just you. That's not really HousingWire. That's just you making a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, LinkedIn is something that I have personally reaped
Like a passion.
tremendous benefits from. And so I've just been there's so many doors have opened up, so many relationships and opportunities that, I just didn't even know existed through this platform, making sales, so much easier because people know and trust you, like because they see you all the time and they hear the value you're bringing. And so as a platform, I don't think there's a better way to do sales. And so I just try to go let everybody I can who's in some kind of pipeline building, revenue generating role,
Yeah.
experience it too, because it's game changer.
It's really cool. And so I only got involved with HousingWire with James.
Yeah.
When the story broke last year, when ICE is telling everybody STK is sunsetting and
Yeah.
brouhaha, and so that's how I got connected to HousingWire originally.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a unique, at least for me, I thought it was a unique take on the media part of the mortgage industry because it was kind of bland.
Yeah.
I mean, you have these news reporting outlets like National Mortgage News, and they're really solid reporting. Don't get me wrong, but the part about making connections, like how many of the folks here at ICE, or how many people are walking through the hall and they're like, "Hey, Dan," you're like,
Right.
"Hey, don't know who you are, but hey."
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
that's a power of showing up.
Right.
And the thing I talk about so this is LinkedIn. This is, HousingWire has, in my opinion, the best audience in housing, right? So like
Yeah.
decision makers. And so like that's
It's like a big group community. It's what it feels like to
absolutely
me.
incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And so like showing up and just being seen. So like both of LinkedIn, HousingWire allows you to do this like at scale, right? You think one-on-one conversations are always good, right? But
Yeah.
when you are able to take your message and, show your face off to
Everyone?
like so many people, I mean, it's a game changer. So you do things at scale. It's just a smarter way to do business, in my opinion, because here's the thing, like sometimes it's hard to track like exactly where the
Right.
sell
What
came
what
from.
came from, right. And so what you're here, and that's so I started lending in 93.
Mm-hmm.
The next
Good
20
year.
years is all retail, right? I'm just out there hustling for deals, and I'm finally tired of it. And I go to work for Ellie Mae as a project manager, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's this whole other thing out there that I don't know about.
Right.
So is it the same kind of thing with you? Because you're recently new at HousingWire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember, like, how did you even get there? Like, why did you make that jump?
Man, it's just HousingWire is just such an incredible company. All right. So like this was known to me before I joined.
Okay.
Right. So the leadership with Clayton Collins and Diego and just like every team member, like just knowing those guys kind of before I joined, and just seeing the quality that they're bringing and like the mission, right? Like
Yeah.
not just mortgage, but housing, overall, housing and being a trusted voice and building, the top audience, that exists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I knew that. So
Okay.
like it's very attractive to be able to like join a company that is
So
so
you sought them out.
focused. Well, no, it was kind of it was a LinkedIn thing.
Oh,
It was a LinkedIn
of
thing.
course
I'll
it was
tell
a
you.
LinkedIn thing,
You
right?
know, it was pretty cool. You know, we I I posted that, hey, like I'm thinking about like joining a company.
That's really cool.
Um, maybe,
Right.
maybe
Let's
not.
talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so that kind of started some conversations in LinkedIn DMs, which is where the magic happens.
That's really, yeah, it is.
And then here I am, and just you know, to say I saw this from afar, like great company, great leadership. You never really know until you get in there.
100%. Right.
And I got in there, and it was
Nothing
even
changed.
better
Right.
than
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought.
Well, it was even better. So
Even better than I thought. So just
that's really
can't say
cool.
enough good things about the company and about the leadership and every single person that works there.
Yeah.
It's just top notch.
No, and I appreciate that. It is, my whole thing is you can talk whatever you want, right? We can say whatever we want out here together. But when we're actually meeting each other every day and getting through the work and how those actions translate, it does make a difference. I
Yeah.
mean, it really shows, you're walking the walk, talking the talk, that whole thing.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions
Let's hear it.
that are hopefully insightful. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to know things. So, again, you're out there, you're on LinkedIn, you're on HousingWire. So when you're, things that are changing, obviously we got a little bit of news this week, with, Rocket and Redfin and those kinds of things. And I know a lot of folks who were adversely affected by that.
Yeah.
So, what are you seeing? What are you hearing, seeing as far as, words matching action? So, you led me into the question, so thank you. But when companies are saying one thing and then they do something different, are you seeing any patterns out there? Are you seeing people are being, I hate to use the word honest, but are they being forthright in their words matching their actions? Or are you starting to see some weird stuff like we saw in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's always hard to know like exactly kind of what's going on, you know, with these. But like, I think that happens pretty consistently.
Okay.
I think that happens more than we
That words
realize.
aren't matching or that they are?
Yeah, you know, like they're not always matching,
Okay.
right? Like certain companies, yes, other companies no. My thing is that like, you know, as a right now where we're at in like just the overall like mindset of an American consumer, right? Whether that's B2B or B2C, is like people want to work with people and they don't really trust or care nearly as much as the company.
Okay.
All right, with the exception of like,
So
you know,
I know I'm
big
working
brands.
with you, and if
Yeah.
I know I'm working with you, HousingWire might be okay, but I'm not going to really worry about it too much as long as I'm good with you.
Usually that's what it is, right?
Right.
Like if you think about mortgage companies.
It's people come to Mortgage Workflow Partners. Literally, they're like, "Where's Larry? I know I
Exactly.
trust him. All your other people that work there, I'm sure I'm going to be great. But if I don't like or trust Larry, it doesn't matter about the company."
Right.
Yeah, I
So
dig that.
so that's such a like
I dig that.
cultural thing now. And so I would just say that luckily for me,
Right.
HousingWire is
It fits.
absolutely crushing it, and I'm proud to you know represent that
Well, it's
name.
easy when you know you
Yeah.
believe in the company that you work for.
Yeah.
It's very easy. It's not even an effort.
Right.
You just do it.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I get that. Biggest value. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Let's go.
It's a lot here at ICE X25, right? Ton of
Yeah.
stuff going on. If you could think of one thing that you'd be like, this is like the standout thing for me here, what would you say?
I'm always gonna say, regardless of where I go, regardless of what conference it is, it's always the opportunity to connect with people you
With
see
people, right?
online or
Yeah.
you know, I mean, the gold is in relationships, and it always is. And you know, you can go by any of these booths and hear a pitch,
Yep.
and but you go drink down over, you know, have a couple drinks with you know the CEO of a tech company and realize that you guys are aligned on a lot of things, and like, you know, it's those things that really matter. And so I'm all about like stacking, you know, opportunities like let's stack you know, hangouts, let's stack conversations, let's get to know each other. And these events are just absolutely incredible. And so overall, I would say just the amount of conversations I've had, real conversations, not trying to pitch anybody,
Right.
but just hanging
Just
out,
honest one-to-ones.
getting to know each other.
Right.
And so value wise, Just being
the
here, man.
connections.
Yeah,
That's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, for me, I'm still the jury's still out for me on the most valuable part because there's a lot, but getting in front of folks to share what is really happening, like you say, not the just the sales pitch kind of
Yeah,
stuff, but to really have ongoing conversations about deeper insights rather than just a soundbite. Like, here's what's going on. Because my biggest frustration with folks is they hear something, it's not exactly false, but it's not exactly the complete story, and then they go run with it. And they
yeah,
make decisions on this information that's not fully baked or fully explained.
right.
And so that's I think that's my biggest value is getting the ability to tell the full story
Yeah,
about what's going on.
yeah,
You know? All right, last question for you.
yeah.
I know what you're going to say, but I have to ask, right? Maybe you prove me wrong. So there's a ton of tech companies out here, right? One thing that they're always talking about is automation.
Yeah.
Automation, automation. Thoughts on to make your company better in the mortgage space? More people, more automation, better people, better automation? Do you have a vibe on that?
It's a tough
It
one.
is, right?
Automation is a tool, right? So you got to use the tool the right way, first off. AI and all this, getting into the mortgage industry now is, I think, going to change a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think the technology is really, really important.
Okay.
Really important, like the right technology. I'm always going to say people, and I was going to say that.
I knew you were going to say people. I mean, that was a softball.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So I think it's a mix, right? Like, I think that if you get the right technology, you can do things that you didn't think was possible, right? Like it will help with pain points. But
do you see a trend difference as you go, right? So you've been watching this a while, right? And so technology always changes. I mean, ICE is coming out with 3 major updates this year that are truly like just mind changing, business changing, workflow changing changes. So do you see it? Do you see anything pivoting where, if I'd asked you this question, right, 18 months ago, it would have been, oh, everything's going to be AI. By 2025, we're going to be running on AI and everybody's going to be out of a job, right? That was the story. I don't see a lot of robots. I see a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. I do think the next few years that'll change.
Do you? Okay.
Just personal opinion, seeing some of the advances and just having conversations with some of these companies and what they're able to do and produce with tech. I don't think it's going to eliminate all the jobs by any means, but like it's a disruptor.
It's making a difference.
The other thing that's cool though is that within the mortgage industry, there's a lot of really good companies that are either coming onto the scene or like who've been working. So competition has increased, and when competition increases, that helps all of us because the products get better, the technology gets better, and so we get those. And the industry as a whole, the mortgage industry, has been a few years behind other industries on
in the
marketing,
tech base, right.
technology. So I feel like we're finally kind of getting to the point where we're getting some real innovative stuff. There's always been great tech companies, but I just like the competition and the level that it's kind of reaching at this point.
I like that.
I think it's pretty cool. And so nobody's going to be okay with AI doing everything.
Right.
All right. So there's going to be
That's
too
stake
many
in the ground for you. Like AI is not going to run. We're not going to have one guy sitting at the top or woman's.
one company,
one person
one
sitting
company
at the top going, I'm going to launch this thing AI. Go ahead. It takes people.
I would just add on to that, to the AI topic though. Like, I get people are nervous about it, and some people are like just choosing to ignore it. I would get after it and just learn what you can about it.
Yeah,
and just be ready,
right?
Just be ready for it. Like, if you know AI, you're going to have some kind of opportunity to provide value to the company. So might as well.
I love
might
it.
as well.
Any questions for me as we end up here, Dan?
Man, I love what you're doing. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
And
thanks for
man,
coming.
just love to have these conversations and stay connected for events like this. This is what it's all about. So I mean, I would just serve up maybe a little plug for you and what is the most value that you're bringing to your audience right now as far as what it is you exactly do.
I think
What have you heard?
I think the thing, so the company was started in 21 as Mortgage Workflow Partners because I didn't want to put technology before workflow, and my first iteration of that was bridging workflow and technology, and so that matured to workflow before technology. Because as we talked, it's people, right? And so people have to know what to do. And in our industry, because of my background, people know how to do their job, but to have everybody do their job in a cohesive, constructive, effective way is tough.
Yeah.
And there's not a person that doesn't see you might not be a fan of football, but about football. And, to watch what happened in the Super Bowl was just an effective use of their workflow for their team, and they just crushed it.
Yeah.
Like, people thought there was going to happen. So that's my big thing is, I can't win a Super Bowl, but I can change what's going on in the marketplace in terms of how people are thinking about how to run their business and putting that workflow before technology.
Love it, man.
So
love it.
That's my thing.
It's a good thing.
All right. We're going to end it here. Dan, thanks very much for coming on.
Appreciate you, buddy.
All right.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
All right. See you.
All right. Be well.